Hi guys, welcome back to the Dream Closet Creation series. This is episode 3, and if you're new here, I am in the process of making my dream wardrobe from scratch, designing it, going to the fabric store, trying to figure out how to sew it. If you haven't already, please check out the first 2 episodes because I show you exactly how I designed all of the outfits that we're going to be making. And also I go through my very first outfit that I made. It was quite the journey to get that done, so please check that out if you haven't already. In today's episode, we are going to be working on this outfit right here. The goal here is to have like a fun little dress that I can wear, also to make tights from the same material so that I can wear them as a set. This is the design we came up with, so we're about to see how it actually ends up looking. The first outfit I made ended up being a bit different than what I originally designed, so I'm really curious to see how this one turns out and how close it is to the original concept. So without further ado, let's get into it. In the previous episode, I picked out the fabric here. So the idea is to have a really fitted mini dress, which is why I'm literally just lying down and tracing my body onto the fabric. Basically what I did was fold it over and trace that as a mirror image so that it would be a little bit more symmetrical. Quickly sewed up the sides, but I left the armholes and the top out for now because I basically just tried it on to see how it fit, and it was looking good. Look at her. This is where I can tell where exactly I want to put the arms and the top, if I want to make the armholes a little bigger, a little smaller, higher, lower. The next step was to take other fabric and do the same thing with it. On this one, I left more room when I cut it out. I didn't want the lace to be super stretched out because it has a pattern on it and you could really tell. And of course you got to do a test scrap. I was a little nervous because I'd never really worked with fabric like this before, so I didn't know what to expect, but luckily it went totally fine. So I grabbed the lace and then I just sewed that right up, same as the other one. And here's one on top of the other. Guys, this is literally less than $20 worth of fabric. I know we're not done by any means, but come on. That's all it takes. I'm actually quite liking the length. It's kind of a nice midi length right now, and I'm almost tempted to keep it like this. I think it would just be really cute to do like a short type of ruffly mini skirt type thing. And then I'm also extremely torn on adding sleeves. Pros to keeping it like this without any sleeves. I really like the look. I think it's a little bit more interesting because I like that you can see my skin tone. Also, if I have this sleeveless, then this definitely works as a summer dress. If I keep it long, it's a little bit more appropriate for more occasions. But if I keep it short, it's cuter and it's a little bit more interesting, but I don't know if it's quite as versatile. I think I'm gonna try to do tights, see how those go, and then I might decide what I want to do with this. I think that's a good method, just bouncing around a little bit of everything. I'm very pleased with this. Let's attempt those tights. I grabbed a pair of leggings that I had. These leggings were like not 100% skin tight. They were like a little bit loose, just to be safe, because I can always make it tighter. And the tricky part here was finding enough surface area to basically cut them out. Because there's a pattern, it has to be going the same direction. The pant legs are not one width all the way through, so I had to find enough space. I had to be really strategic how I was laying everything out. You can see here, I did manage to find a spot and I pinned it, but it doesn't completely cover everywhere that it should. There's a little bit of a chunk missing, but I was like, you know what? This is the best we have. This is literally like the only way that I could do it. So let's just cut it out. Maybe it'll be fine. Okay, so here is what we have going on so far. The tights slash leggings worked out pretty well, except we weren't able to avoid that giant gap in the back, and I don't think it's something that I can easily fix. It's just like a little bit too much of a hole to patch up. The good news is if I wanted to fix it, I would just get another panel of fabric just for one leg because the other leg is perfectly fine. It'd be a really quick and easy fix, but I would have to get more fabric. I'm leaning towards keeping the dress long and getting rid of the leggings altogether because this is kind of like an idea of what it could be hiked up like that. I feel like it's trying a little bit too hard and it's not really accomplishing what it is meant to be accomplishing. This is what it looks like at the length that I just cut it. Pretty uneven on the bottom, but weirdly enough, I like this a lot more. It's a little boring, dare I say, but it's so beautiful and it fits me so well that like I almost don't even care. I think I do want to keep it sleeveless. I'm not gonna do a turtleneck because I thought it'd be cool, but I feel like it's just weird since it's sleeveless. I don't know like if I want ruffles on the bottom or what. There's just so many options. I don't want it to be too grandma-ish. I'm gonna start by finishing off the top. Then I'm going to trim the bottom so it's just level and then see where we are lengthwise and how we like that. And then we can add any other bits and bobs that we need to. I ended up getting Josh's opinion on this, and he kind of preferred the short dress, which I know I just said I liked it long, but I think in my heart I really wanted the short dress. I just wasn't really happy about how I was putting it together. So he kind of convinced me to give the leggings another go. I put the dress aside for now. I kind of didn't want to patch this up because I was like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to do it. Like there's a giant hole. I just have to go and get more fabric, but like maybe I should just give up on the tights. What I decided to do was get a scrap of fabric and then basically pattern match that scrap exactly and then hand sew it so that hopefully, because the pattern lines up, it would be seamless enough so that you wouldn't see where the seam is at all. So the card here is just stretching everything out nice and taut, and then also obviously I'm able to see what's going on. And I basically just experimented with overlapping it and lining it up exactly with the pattern underneath. And then we got it all lined up and I pinned it down very, very carefully and just cut around the edges. So I actually cut around, you can see here, the design. Everywhere there was a hard edge of these gray solid flowers, I cut around that instead of cutting exactly where the hole was. You would see the seams a lot more on this really delicate mesh part, but the seams would be a little bit more hidden with the darker gray fabric. So I was thinking, let me just sew along those pre-existing seams. That way it'll be a lot less noticeable. I did end up hand stitching this together, and this was one of the reasons why I really didn't want to do this project, because honestly, I kind of just doubted my own hand stitching abilities. I don't have a ton of experience with hand stitching just because I don't really have the patience to learn how to do it the right way. So I honestly just kind of made it up as I went along. I just used common sense of like, how would I attach this piece of fabric using a needle and a thread? And it actually worked really well. Like it was secure. There were no weird like strings. The stitching was fine and you couldn't see anything. I actually got confused looking at this footage because I was like, wait, is this the before? No. See right here, my finger's pointing, this is where the seam is. It's once you point it out, you can definitely see it, but like you would not know at all. The other hole that you see at the top that's a little raggedy, that's gonna just be the seam of the tights. It's gonna look fine. We have plenty of room to stretch it out. And then before I actually was done sewing, I added this band at the top to kind of, you know, like cinch everything in, make it a little bit more finished and then help it stay up a little more. Just a scrap of leftover fabric. I did make it a little bit tighter than the tights so that it could actually hold up. And look at how cool these look. Something about putting the band at the top really just like made it all come together. I was like obsessed with how these looked. Here is what it looks like now. I bet you can't spot the hole because I know that I can't spot the hole. I'm gonna point it out right now. I don't even know, what is she even pointing to? We just need to fix this floppy thing going on, but damn. And you know what? Shout out to Josh because he pushed me to do this and it was so easy. So here is everything going on so far. We have the underdress, the tights, which this just looks insane. Let me just say, I just wanted to keep it like this. It is tucked a little bit in. And then we have the top. I did envision it short with like a little ruffle at the bottom. Then I didn't know if it was really like giving. And then without the ruffle, it was like fine, but just like not really doing it for me. I played around with this leftover fabric just to see if there's any cool like draping that I wanted to do. And again, it was kind of cool. Like maybe there's something there, but none of it was really blowing my mind at this point. But I figured that I did want the underdress to be pretty cropped. So I just went ahead and cut that out. I tried to make the back of it a little bit longer so that it would cover my butt, which I just eyeballed. I don't know. I just did like a little swoop going on there. And then I hemmed the sides. So here is the dress hemmed. Looks pretty similar to last time, except we got this flappy thing going on in the back, which I'm gonna have to do something about. So the next step was to figure out what I wanted to do with the bottom with the ruffles. I decided to just test out some ruffling. The first thing I did was try to do like a lettuce hem on these, which basically was just finishing off with a zigzag stitch while pulling it super tight. And it's just like, I don't know, it was kind of not looking good, but I was like, let me just give it the benefit of the doubt and keep it going. So I added more like layers to ruffle it. Also did not have a lot of fabric to work with here, and I really underestimated how much fabric ruffles take, because you take a big piece of fabric and you scrunch it up into a tiny little piece of fabric. So I was working with these like little squares that I kind of cut out and I didn't have a whole lot of room for. And I tried like bunching it up a little bit to give it some body, but it was just looking like meh. I mean, I don't know. It just looks sad. There's no volume to it, and the edges look really like raggedy and uneven. Didn't look finished, didn't look polished. Like, you can't see where the edges are. It honestly just looks like garbage. Like, I don't know. This reminds me of garbage, which really wasn't what I was going for. I was not going for like grungy. So time to figure out something else. I decided just to pivot back to cropping the bottom of the lace. I must have not filmed this for some reason, but I tried to cut the bottom of this lace fabric like straight across, which didn't work out because it's flowy. So you can see it's like really uneven, because you can't just cut straight across and lay it out like you normally would. I decided, let's utilize that butt mold I made. So I had to like fill up the whole entire thing, which it kind of loses its shape. It kind of defeats the purpose, because you can basically like mold it and stuff it however you want. And then I was like, let me hang this up and hang the dress on it, and then that way I can trim it while it's actually like hanging on something, so that I can make sure that it's straight while it's being draped. And I figured the best place for this, honestly the only place for this, was my shower. So I just used like this yarn to tie it up. This thing was so heavy. It was actually really hard to get it secured up, and then I realized that there was no way I was gonna be able to get it on. Yeah, it doesn't stretch that way. So I have to take the whole entire thing off and then put the dress on and then hang the whole entire thing back up. There we go. So you can see it's like draping. It's much nicer to cut like this, and I can just cut like a really even line straight across. And then I think my camera died here, but you can see here's the final result. I did a pretty good job cutting it nice and straight. It's got a little bit of flow to it. The length is good. You can see the bottom layer coming out a little bit, but we can always fix that. And it wasn't too short. If it was like half a centimeter shorter, it maybe would have been too short, but this was fine. And it looked so cute. I was so happy with how this was like flaring out. I really wish that I left more fabric when I was cutting this shape out, because I totally would have made it like flare even more, but I was happy with it. So the next step was to figure out if I wanted to do something on the bottom. I'm just cutting strips. You know, we're just gonna cut a strip and then see what happens. I'm cutting all these strips, fruit rolling it up. I don't know if they're even, but what are you gonna do? And then this is where the trouble starts. So I tried to ruffle everything up, right? It's just really hard to keep it in place. So I'm like, okay, so I use this like hanger thing to try to clamp it, but then it didn't really work because then there's like no room to actually sew it, and then it got really messed up. So I was like, okay, I'll try again. I'll clamp it right on. I had to put some tape down because the wood inside was like really rough, so it kept sticking. Ruffle the whole entire thing up, clamp it. I go to sew it, and like, yeah, it just doesn't work at all. That was just a waste of time. It immediately gets caught in here, which is not the fault of that, but wasn't successful. And so basically what I did was I just ruffled it by hand. I was like, I don't know how long this is gonna be. I don't know if the ruffles are gonna be even. I feel like I can do a better job just touching it, and I can just tell the ruffles. So this is way easier. I just ruffled that all up. And then this is what it looks like pinned to the bottom. It's fine. Honestly, it looks nice on the camera. I was really not that happy with it in person. I think it's just, again, it just like wasn't giving. You know what I mean? There's something a little bit, I don't know, like it wasn't like as fun and flirty and sexy as I kind of wanted it to be. It wasn't as like interesting as I wanted it to be. And also like the ruffles didn't really flare out in the way that I was hoping that they would. At this point, I just decided to take a break and kind of move on to the next outfit, because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was really procrastinating on it, and I just needed to switch things up.
I ended up designing my next outfit and taking a trip to the fabric store. So here's a sneak peek of that in the next episode. Please subscribe so you don't miss any of it or the upcoming episodes. And in the meantime, let's fast forward to finishing this dress. I'm going to finish sewing the very bottom hem of my gray dress and then adjust the under layer of that dress just so I can say that it's like done. And then the rest of the day, I'm gonna be busy. We're going to have steak and hang out with our friends and use their hot tub, which I'm really excited about. And I'm gonna be wearing loving my outfit from head to toe, which I'm super excited about. I have been wearing it out this week. Do you guys ever get like nervous, but like you're excited? Like you're doing something and you get so excited because you like it so much that you get like nervous. Like my heart's pounding right now. I don't know why. I don't know if I'm just like super stoked about this dress I'm making. I don't know. I think honestly, if anything, it's I'm thinking about the possibilities from all the stuff that I saw at the fabric store. Can you believe it that at the beginning of the series, this didn't even exist? Like I couldn't wear it because it doesn't exist, and now I'm wearing it in the video making more stuff. And then I'm gonna make my second outfit that's like a sweater set, because that's like what I wear all the time, and I'm gonna make it and I'm gonna be editing this video in it. This hem is really bothering me because it's like curved. I don't know how people do it. You have to like bunch it up every so often, and I feel like that looks bad, but I don't know how else to do it. Okay, here is what we have. Let me run you through the problems that I've ran into. So first of all, this isn't quite short enough. This top is just barely long enough. The problem is in the back here, that's like where my butt is. It just about covers it, but it works fine if I give it just a little pull. Like a little bit of help right there. So what I want to try to do is first of all, crop this. Then I want to kind of attach or hand stitch a couple key points over here. So that way it's always like being pulled down just a little bit. That way this part still ruffles up because I don't want that to be attached like this. But if I have it attached here, hopefully that'll stick to my butt and then it won't ride up. Another problem I've been running into, this lace fabric, so you can see over here, it has these like stringy bits that stick out quite a bit. These are like elastic threads from the fabric all along here. I don't love them and I'm not really sure how to get rid of them because I have trimmed them down before and I think they just keep cropping up. I think that's really all we can do in this scenario. Attach the top to the bottom, crop it, prevent this from riding up if we can secure that. If we can do that, I'm happy with how this came out. So let's just pretend the mic wasn't muted here. I tucked in the sides a little bit when I was sewing just to make it extra cinch to my leg so that it wouldn't come apart. And then basically what I'm doing here is just a test walking up and down my apartment, make sure that it doesn't ride up at all. And it was pretty successful. I think it's definitely short, but it didn't move at all. The next thing to do was put the lace over it and try to pin one to the other, which was a lot harder than I anticipated. I couldn't really get both of them at the same time. I don't actually have safety pins with me, but what I ended up doing instead is marking where I wanted those pins to be and then putting them together, and then I can sew them together that way. Now that we're back and our mic works and is not muted, here you can see I did 3 knots in the back. I don't know how that's gonna hold up. I don't know if that's gonna work, but I just did 3 of them to test and I'm about to put it on and see how that goes. I would say that's not too bad. Here's a look at the back. So I'll show you, that's where it's attached. I think that works pretty well, but obviously to test it out, we're gonna have to do another strut up and down the apartment. To be honest with you, I can't really tell. It's not visibly riding up or anything, like it seems to be just on the cusp. When I was sitting down to put my shoes on, I realized even if this covers it, there's no way I can sit down in this outfit. Like there's no way I can sit down without having to readjust myself every single time. So I'm gonna go to the fabric store to get a little bit more fabric so that I can make myself some shorts that I can add onto it. I'm already distracted. There's so much stuff in here. Back from the fabric store. Don't mind the outfit, we're just experimenting. I did obviously spend a really long time at the fabric store just to get this because not in the market for any other fabrics right now, even though I'm thinking about them a lot. So I just got more of the same one I already had. I ended up getting a yard and a half. I think it was $14 with tax. We'll just start right away with trying to make some shorts and then I guess attach them to the bottom and see how that goes. Guys, not a single pattern. Well, one thing drawn out. I drew out one side of these. The other ones, I didn't even retrace them. I just cut them all out. Not a single pin used. Nothing pinned together. Am I a genius? Do I have like a natural gift for shorts? Methinks yes. What am I gonna do with this information? I don't know. Time to figure out how to put them onto our dress. I was just about to take this off and I realized my mistake. You can't take it off if the shorts are built in, because normally I put it on over my head, but if the shorts are actually like built in, then it needs to come down this way, or like it needs a zipper. Now I'm starting to understand. We might have not been able to get those shorts in, but a new dress, new tights, and new shorts was good enough for me. Here's a look at the final outfit. Thank you so much for following along, and once again, please subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss the next episode or any of the others. I may have had some hiccups making this outfit, but let's just say they pale in comparison to what I'm about to go through in the next episode. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.